Today's video is going to be an experimental project that I'm hoping works. I have high hopes it'll work, and if it does work, it will be really cool. I've been doing a little bit of punch needling as everyone else has. While I was practicing, I thought, wouldn't this be really cool as clothing? To make it super simple on myself, I'm going to just do a cropped blazer type jacket. Each individual pattern piece will be punch needled. I had a bit of a Google and an Instagram stalk and I couldn't quite find any clothing made of punch needles. I did find one coat type situation, and I'll show you here. There's probably people out there that have done it. I searched through YouTube, I searched through Instagram. If it works, something that would be incredibly expensive to sell because of the time it takes to actually make each piece by hand. So you're essentially creating this textile, this fabric, by your hands, like your own hands. So it's a process. It'd have to be at least a couple of thousand just in labour and materials. So there's probably a reason why no one does it. I'm going to be using this blazer pattern that I have in the vintage sewing pattern collection I've got. So I'm not going to do the collar, and I'm not sure about the button yet, and it's going to be cropped and long sleeve. So it's like the most basic jacket pattern you can think of, because everything else has to be so detailed, and I have to hand make each piece from the pattern. I've sewn up a practice one just to see what it would look like and how it would fit, what size to make and all that sort of jazz, which is behind me here. One second. So this is the backup sample piece that I made just to see what it would look like, how it was constructed, how it was put together, and what I would need to change going forward with my making my own punch needle textile pieces. So in order to make the punch needle version not irritating to wear, I'll also be making a lining for the finished one, so it's not so scratchy, because there's going to be glue and everything on the other side, inside. So yeah, no collar, super cropped. We'll have sleeves, long sleeves, possibly just like an open, no buttons or anything. I think just a basic button, a basic open jacket. This is the lining fabric. It's a linen. I did some research, and you can punch needle into linen, so I figured that would be a better option than the actual thick monk's cloth or whatever it is that you normally use when you're doing your punch needle works. So obviously planning around being able to wear it, being able, hopefully it's not too heavy. It might be quite heavy, it will be really warm, it'll be super friggin' warm. I had to think about all those things before I started actually constructing it, so keeping things as light as possible, and it took me a year to make this, so I've learnt a lot going through the whole entire process. So originally I started off with a proper frame like this, but obviously this is too small for the pieces that I was trying to punch needle, and it was just a pain in the butt. So then I found one of my a canvas frame that I haven't stretched any canvas on, and I stapled the linen to this. And also I wanted it to be semi-portable, because I didn't want to be sitting down here in the studio working on it. I wanted to be able to sit it on my lap and punch needle while I was watching TV or something, because I knew this would take a really long time and I'd have to do a little bit at a time, and keep going. So I also learnt to mix the Mod Podge with a bit of water just to make it a little bit more flexible. I didn't want it so crusty when it dried, and I think those are the main things that I have changed. I broke my punch needle halfway through. I was using it a lot, so I had to order some more punch needles. As always, I like to test this stuff out and experiment, have a play. All of my work seems to always go back to wearable pieces. I don't know, any craft thing, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Could I put that in a dress, or could I make that into a top, or I don't know. Let's get to it. Like all rug tufting videos and things that you see, you always, and punch needle stuff, you always see them finishing it off with a shaver thingy. So I went and got a pet shaver from Kmart, just because I'm only going to use it on the wool and obviously not on my dog, so I didn't really need it to be super expensive. This is just a try, and it works. You'll see. So the pieces are done. Each piece needs to be glued. It needs to be cleaned up, shaved, or sheared, so that the looping is equal, same level. And then once I've done that, then I'm going to begin constructing the lining. Then I need to get a heavy duty sewing machine needle so that I can sew the punch needle pieces together. So let me show you what they look like now. This is a sleeve, so you can see I've punch needled an entire sleeve piece. This is the back. This has been glued with Mod Podge, so it's clear, it's crunchy, but it should stay in place fairly well. This guy needs to be shaved because you can see there's like the odd random loops that need to be cleaned up. So I'm gonna go shave all of those pieces and I'll get back to you. I got this. Let's see how we go. at the point now where I can begin assembling, and it has taken me, I think I started this project last year in about August, and it is now July the following year. So it's almost been an entire year of punch needling these pieces to see if my experimental idea will work. What the frig was that? Still working? Yep, scared the shit out of me though. Thought I hit a needle. Thought I snapped a needle. Must have hit a hard spot. Go slow, people. Let's just turn it on real slow. Still going? Oh, this is the hard bit, that's why. If I can cut this down enough, I will attempt to overlock each piece in. See if that helps. it on the Punchneedle jacket. I have my lining sewn separately. So this is it here. Okay. I've overlocked all the edges and everything. The next job is to iron this. And then here is my Punchneedle part finished. Ooh. Okay, so I've contained all of the, you know, inner seams that kind of worried me a little bit, even the sleeve section with the knit bias binding that I have. Then I also went over and grabbed some Mod Podge and I re-glued the entire thing right near the little seam, all the seams, because I had deliberately left them unglued to help with the sewing, and so some weren't glued, so I went in and fixed that. Now pieces are coming off. Pieces are coming off, and that's concerning. See, there's a little piece. Because it's being handled so much, I think that's the reason why at this point. And it's on those particular areas that have movement. But we roll with it, and then we shall sandwich them in together and see how it goes. My plan is not to sew it on the machine. I'm feeling like the best point of attack will be to hand stitch the lining to the outer fabric. Worst comes to worst, it'll just be an art piece that can actually not be worn, but would be displayed on a mannequin. Alright, let's do this. Done. Time to try it on. Just double check. I haven't tried it on the entire time. It's probably not the best practice when you're a dressmaker. Alrighty, ready? This is what she looks like. I did it. I did it.